Imagine getting into a taxi for a normal ride, but it turns into a nightmare you can't escape. It was just past midnight in the heart of the city. Rain streaked the streets, reflecting the neon signs in jagged, trembling patterns on the wet asphalt. The air smelled faintly of gasoline and wet concrete. Most people were tucked away in their homes, but for some, the night had only just begun. Ethan Morrison was one of those people. A young professional who worked late. He had finished a long shift at the hospital and was heading home. His apartment was several miles away, across the quieter districts where the streetlights flickered lazily. Pulling up his coat against the drizzle, he waved down a yellow cab that glided silently toward him. The driver was a middle-aged man with a weary face, his eyes hidden beneath the brim of a stained cap. He nodded at Ethan, muttering a curt greeting as the passenger climbed into the back seat. The smell inside the cab was faintly metallic, like rust, with a hint of cigarette smoke. Ethan shrugged it off, thinking he was just tired, and gave the driver his address. The car started moving, tires whispering over wet pavement. Ethan tried to relax, scrolling through his phone, occasionally glancing at the dashboard clock. Midnight was turning into an hour that felt heavier, slower, almost wrong. He noticed the driver was silent, staring straight ahead, eyes hollow, unblinking. "Traffic's light tonight," Ethan said, attempting small talk. The man grunted but gave no answer. A shiver ran down Ethan's spine. Something about the cab felt off. Minutes passed. The cityscape changed. Neon lights gave way to empty streets and occasional shuttered shops. Rain continued to pelt the windshield in relentless sheets. Then the cab turned off the main road and into a narrow, unfamiliar alley. Ethan leaned forward. "Hey, are we going the right way?" The driver didn't respond. The alley was darker, narrower. Trash bins lined the walls, and the hum of the city felt distant, as if it had been swallowed by the fog. Ethan's stomach churned. He glanced at the rearview mirror and caught the driver's reflection. For a fraction of a second, he thought he saw a flicker. A smile, slow, too wide, too unnatural. His heart skipped. "Sir, please," Ethan said, voice trembling. "I think you're lost." The driver's hands tightened on the wheel. He didn't answer, but the speed increased slightly, the tires hissing over puddles. Ethan's phone buzzed with a notification. He reached for it, hoping to call someone. Anyone. But the moment his hand brushed the device, it slipped silently onto the floor, out of reach. Panic surged. "Stop the car. Stop!" he yelled, banging on the back of the seat. The driver's head slowly turned toward him, eyes glinting in the rearview mirror. Then he spoke. "You won't like where you're going," the man said, voice low and calm. Ethan froze. Something in that voice wasn't human, or at least it wasn't normal. His pulse thundered in his ears. The cab emerged onto an empty road that twisted into the industrial outskirts of the city. Factories loomed like skeletal giants, their chimneys coughing smoke into the night. No other cars, no streetlights, only the cab and the rain. Ethan fumbled, trying again to reach his phone, but the driver's hand shot out, pressing down lightly on the seat. "You can't," he said. The words were simple but heavy, loaded. A sudden noise broke the silence. A scraping metallic sound from the back of the cab. Ethan's eyes darted around. His bag, his coat, even his shoes felt heavier, as if the air itself had weight. He wanted to scream but couldn't. The world felt distorted, like someone had slowed down the night itself. Then it happened. The driver slammed the brakes. The cab skidded to a halt on a patch of gravel, spinning slightly before stopping. Rain drummed on the roof in furious sheets. Ethan's chest heaved. He opened the door, intending to bolt, but the lever jammed. He tried again. Nothing. "Where are we?" he demanded, voice rising. The driver's lips curved into a smile this time. "Almost there," he said. Ethan's gaze flicked to the back seat. There, a dark stain began to spread across the leather. A deep, wet red. His stomach knotted. That wasn't... Could it be? He froze. Before he could react, a sound from outside the cab made his blood run cold. A dragging, scraping sound, like chains being pulled across concrete. The rain intensified, hammering on the roof, drowning out everything else. Ethan's hands shook uncontrollably. "Please, please, stop this," he whispered. The driver turned, facing him fully for the first time. His eyes were not human. They were black, endless, filled with something ancient and hungry. The cab's interior seemed to warp, the walls stretching, shadows creeping along the leather. Ethan felt himself pulled forward, as if the air itself was bending around him. The last thing he remembered was the metallic taste of fear, the smell of iron and rain, and a voice whispering in his ear, "You should have stayed home." The cab was found the next morning on the side of the industrial road. Inside was Ethan's phone, still warm, displaying an unfinished message. "Help, they!" Blood streaks marred the seat, but there was no body. The driver? Gone. The tires? Pristine, no tracks leading away. Police scoured the area, questioned local residents, checked traffic cameras. Nothing. It was as if Ethan had simply evaporated from existence. Some investigators suggested he had been abducted. Others whispered of darker possibilities. Rituals, entities, places beyond normal understanding. The cab itself was eventually impounded, examined, and cleared. Yet anyone who got too close reported feeling dizzy, fainting, or hearing whispers that weren't there. Weeks later, a message appeared on Ethan's social media account, one that had been inactive for months. It was a photo, taken from inside a cab, showing an empty back seat, and a single wet glove lying on the floor. No caption, no explanation, just the glove. Ethan's fate remains a mystery. Some say he is still trapped somewhere between the city streets and something far darker. Others claim he escaped, changed forever by the experience. One thing is certain. Every time someone enters a taxi late at night, a part of them wonders, who or what is driving the cab? And here's the question that haunts viewers, designed to spark comments and theories. If you were in Ethan's seat, what would you do? And who do you think really took him?